Hello, good morning to every one of our sisters. Good morning, teacher. Good morning, good morning. We're going to start our we're going to start with a new submodule of the module 2. So before I introduce to the facilitator, we're gonna finish the I'm going to introduce to our facilitator, Bina. So go ahead, Bina.
First of all, greetings to everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're joining. My name is Bina Nepram, and I am so deeply honored to be able to spend this time with all of you at this FIMI Diploma course in Intercultural Research. This is my first ever online teaching. I have taught in many universities before, but this is my first online. So I'm as nervous as you all are. But I also know that you all are coming from deep knowledge and wisdom. So we will have really looking forward to a co-learning experience with you all. Thank you. And I would like to say good morning, good evening, greetings again, and acknowledge the land on which I'm speaking from and pay our tribute to our ancestors past and present and our children and grandchildren yet to be born. We are doing this work honoring our people, our communities, and most important, global indigenous women that you all belong. Thank you. So Liliana, should I
Okay, so Africa team is going to do the invocation session. Then they are going to do the so once Africa team is finished with today's opening session, then I'm going to let you to I'm going to introduce you with you. So go ahead, Africa team, so we can start with the session, the invocation session. Who is going to lead today's session? Like give the invocation session? Girls?
It's me.
Go ahead, please.
I want to share my screen first. So let me share the screen.
Communication, would you please help out Halima? Yes. Go ahead. Halima can share her screen. Go ahead, Halima. You can share your screen. In the bottom part of the screen, it says there is an icon that says share, so you can click there.
Can you see my screen?
Can you pueden? Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, let me put my camera. So we are going to respond, and then I'll explain after the video the meaning. But how we respond, we say enkai. So we use the grass for the blessings. We also use the milk and the calabash, the bottle that I don't have for now. But this is how we do the blessings with the grass. So you say Nkai, Nkai, bless. So I'm going to play the video, and then we listen to the prayer as you respond Nkai, and then I bless you with the grass. After the video, I'll explain the meaning. Is that okay?
Yes.
Enjuro dongoi doi. Dala belaranda angai. Dene changiri nesha sabuga midumar gerot. Emi yau. Emi bonna. Anda bayaga ni gwanini. Anda gwani kinora la kera linyi. Anda gwani kinora anda monokar bayani lenye. Anda gwani kinora angarenye. Anda gwani kinora ngishenye. Anda bani loriga no monya. Anda bazai loni la ngeba. Endo ini rigi la yokondo yi. Anda shakinda la bila dankare. Na indo ibo yoga na ibuko. Abolo milango ni la kimaranjo yoga ngishon. Dimiria yoga ni meza. Na ibo yoga na ibuko amere ndogina. Abolo milango ni la kimaran sudo yoga andoro. Yo yogo so de ngweni di. Niki yoga ngani na ngweni di. Nda yona baba be nda yano so bialgiaga. Nda yona po. Como no galawa. Ngara lo menye. Ngara no ngoranye. Gloria yoga ngida. Gloria yoga lo sholang. Don ngo yongo mo. Nda ra yoga loshi. Don ngo yoga arya dama.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. I'll now stop sharing and then I explain. So in the video, we are praying for that include the women, the community, the kids, the mother. It says that may we grow in harmony, may our children be a blessing to our generation, may rain come to our land for our cattle, our children, and our grass. May God protect us from those who are destroying our nation, both young girls, boys, women, and our elders. In the video, as you've seen, there's a milk. Milk symbolizes purity, blessings, and a sacred connection to our God. It is used to anoint, bless, and sanctify people, animals, and spaces. It is also inviting divine protection, favor, and life. Milk is also offered as a holy gift during the rituals, showing gratitude and seeking spiritual guidance. That is the prayer for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Halima.
Thank you, Halima. Next colleague that is going to do her presentation. Go ahead. Time is running. Who's next on presenting her video?
I'm also going to present the same video, so 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Let me see. Is the colleague there? I can't see her. I can't see her. Is she in here? Hello, hello. Hello. I think she disconnected.
Hola.
Hello. We're waiting for you. I don't know if you're there or you. So if not, we're going to project the teacher Bina's introduction. We're gonna introduce teacher Bina.
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen, but we can't hear.
Okay, let me play the video now. I'm sorry about that. So this is showing my community, Samburu. So I'm going to show how the video will describe everything, I think. Okay. Okay. So that's it's a video showing my community, not everything, but a bit about the community. The part that you've seen a woman was shaving the hair, that is during the wedding. When you get married, they usually shave your hair. And also the small houses is their traditional homes. So yeah. And the outfits, the one that they have so many beads, is during the wedding ceremonies and also during traditional ceremonies. That's how they wear it. And the last part, they have the outfit they worn is from the cattle, from the sheep, and others from the cow.
Thank you so much, Halima. Precisely what we want is to have to be able to see a little bit of your life, of your culture, so we can have this global vision, because this is a global group, and sometimes we can't see what happens in other places. We think that and I'm speaking from my culture, and sometimes I don't have the abilities or knowledge to understand the diversity and plurality of the group and of what's out there. So next time, please be prepared. If you want us to have a video, please send it to us, and the technical team can help us with no problem. We're here to help. So please, let's go into the next session. We're going to hear our great teacher, Dina. Dina is going to be with us during these 2 next week, and I'm really, really, really honored to have her here. I'm very, very happy that she has accepted to be here, because if you don't know this, she is quite busy, but her commitment to be here to participate in this diploma course and training for the indigenous women. It makes her to be here as a teacher today. Bina Lakshmi, as we call her, Bina Nepram, our sister Bina. She's a women's rights advocate. She's a gendered expert and a founder of a women-led disarmament movement in her home state in Manipur, India. From 2018 to 2019, she was a fellow at the IIESRTF in Connecticut College, where she taught the course Women, War, and Peace. She has also delivered lectures on environmental justice and indigenous women, and has published several books and research works on the intersections of gender, conflict, and democracy. Her work has been internationally recognized with several awards, including the Anna Politkovskaya in 2000 award in 2018, Women Have Wings in 2016, CNN IBN Real Heroes Award in 2011, the Sean McBride Peace Prize in 2010 and the Ashoka Fellow for Social Innovators in 2011. So we have a great sister here who's going to share with us many things. So I want to invite you to not to take advantage of this training, to be here, to be concentrated, to participate. And as I was saying before, because of respect, by being present and to let us know that you are truly present, please open your cameras so we know you're engaged in the class and we can see you. Thank you very much for being here. The floor is all yours. Please go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Liliana, and greetings again. I don't come here as a teacher, but as a fellow sister, okay, that I so much to learn from one another, and we learn intergenerational. So I come as one of you here. Thank you once again, Liliana, and to FIMI, an incredible international indigenous women's organization which has made a global mark. And I have been associated with FIMI for many, many years. And actually, in 2018, if I remember correctly, I wrote the history of FIMI also to document the incredible work of FIMI, which started from the Beijing World Conference till today. I interviewed many of the FIMI founders, and congratulations on 25 years. So this is an incredible women's movement, indigenous women's movement, and I'm so deeply honored to get to meet all of you here. So what we are going to do is, I truly believe that the first rapport of knowing one another, understanding one another, is to know each other. So we will take a few minutes to just say who you are and which part of the world you are, and which indigenous community you are a part of. And and I know you are in the middle of the course. So congratulations. I think 2 months have passed and 1 more month, like 1.5, 2 more months to go. You're almost half there. And I know that right now you might be struggling with the reading materials and so many knowledge upload, but know that one day you will find some of this will remain in your memory and your consciousness. Today, in my courses, which will start now for the next 5 courses, and in July, I promise you that I will not give you information overload, but I promise you that some of the work that we are doing is research plus how you can put it on action on ground in your village, whether it's in the valley or in the hills or in the desert, wherever you are. And this is a practical knowledge, because I have lived this for more than 20 years of my life. So what I'm bringing to you is not academic knowledge, but knowledge which is grounded in research, no doubt, but knowledge which our communities can use to strengthen ourselves to be the change we wish to see. And this is what. So if you did not read my materials, it's fine. If you read it, it's okay. Both are okay, because I know you have families, you have communities that you have to take care as you do this course. So I'm absolutely aware of it. So let's do what is called connecting our spirit with one another. And I would love to know all about you too. So if you can, I will call on, like if you can unmute yourself and then tell who you are, which indigenous community you come from, and which part of the territory you're speaking from. We all, yeah, so I think I will, Habiba, can you, of course, we just heard you, so I think we all know about you, but yes, you can quickly say again, and you call on the sister next that you would like to introduce. Yeah.
Thank you very much, teacher. I am Habiba Gambo from Cameroon. I belong to the Mboro Indigenous Pastoralist Community. Thank you very much. Sister Megumi can go next.
Hello, good morning, good evening. My name is Megumi Kamiya. I belong to Ryukyu, Okinawa, Japan. Nice to meet you.
Megumi, you have to say which one you want to introduce.
Yes. Samantha, please. Samantha, please.
Hey, good day to all the sisters. My name is Sabantho, Corey Edgel, and I come from the Kono people of Guyana, Region 4 Guyana. We come from, it's a savanna mixed with forest lands. And now I'm gonna call on Sister Rocio.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Rocio Silvero Romero. I'm from Mexico. I'm from the state of Mexico, and my municipality is called Temoaya. I speak Otomi. In my community, we're called Ñatu. Matapati, you're next.
Thank you, Rocio. Hi, I am Marta Pati from Ulat community from Maluku, Indonesia. And next is Roni.
Thank you, sister.
Gracias, hermana.
Good evening, good morning, good
Gracias.
afternoon, everyone. I'm Lamra Singh Chaudhry Roni. I'm from Bangladesh. I belong to the Marma indigenous community of Bangladesh. We are from the Chittagong Hill Tracts region of Bangladesh, the neighbor of India. And yeah, I work with the Bangladesh Indigenous Women Network, and also I'm engaged with IFAD as the steering committee member from the Asia region. Yeah, nice to meet you. Thank you. And I call Sister Priscilla.
Hi, sisters. I'm Priscilla Thumai from India, northeastern India, and I belong to Manipur state, same state of our facilitator, our Madam Bina Lakshmi. And then we are very much happy to see one another once more. Thank you, everyone. And I recommend this Exdel Jamura, please. Exdel Jamura. May I give the time for Exdel Jamura?
Okay, I will do it. Yes. My name is Exdel Zamora. See, my name is Exdel Zamora. Okay. My name is Exdel Zamora. I am the interpreter here in this diploma. So I am from Nicaragua. I belong to a Mosquito Indian people. So I speak Spanish, English, and also Mosquito language, which is our indigenous language. So I'm very, very happy to be here, being part of this diploma course, the intercultural diploma course. Thank you very much. Now I am calling next Marta Susana to introduce herself. Hello, good morning. I'm from Argentina. My name is Analisa Susana. I'm from the Mocoy. I speak the Mocoy language and speak. Thank you very much. I'm calling Jubilata to introduce herself. Thank you, Susana. Good morning. My name is Jubilata Puneda. I'm the Seneca people. I'm the current counselor. I represent to 150,000 women, and my people is the biggest second community in Colombia. I'm really happy to be here, and I'd like to contribute with what I have learned, and I'm expecting to learn what the tutor is going to teach us in this process. We can't hear you, Zuleida. You closed you muted your. Okay, I'd like to ask Liliana to tell us a little bit about herself, more than tutor, as the organizer, that she's always there with us. So because she's with us every day, every session we participate here. So yeah, I'd like her to introduce herself to the group as well. Thank you, Zuleida. Hello, everybody. Well, I am, if you can notice, Mexico is as a little seahorse. So I'm in the region, in the down region, that it's called the state of Oaxaca. It's a very, very beautiful place, and that's one of the states with most diversity, cultural diversity. In Mexico, we have 68 indigenous language, and only in Oaxaca we have 17 indigenous community. So this is an entity which is governed by the government, and I belong to one of the languages, which is Ayu. So I'm from that community, from the Mije Hills. My community is well known because we sing a lot there. We use a lot of songs, and we dance a lot, and we do a lot of that. So I am made up and formed up, grew up with music. I eat, I drink, and listen to music. So I hope I can share you some videos of this. We have a lot of cultural production analysis. I'm a mother. I have a son, Pablo, and if I'm here with you in any questions, I'm here. So it is a challenge for me. I'm learning a lot with you in this process. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you. I am giving the word next to Omudiko.
Hello everyone, my name is Umudiko. I'm from West Africa, precisely in Mali, and I belong to Fulani community. Thank you. And then I choose, I will choose Halima.
Thank you, Umu. Hello, sisters. My name is Halima Abdikadir. I'm from Kenya, the northern part of Kenya. I belong to the Samburu community, the Somali community, most of the pastoralist community. It's so nice to meet all of you, and I'm excited for this phase. Thank you. I call Nato Sim.
Thank you, Halima.
Gracias, Halima.
My name is Nato Sim
Mi nombre es
Edward
Nato Sim.
from Tanzania.
Soy de
I
Tanzania.
belong to the Maasai indigenous community in
Pertenezco a
Arusha, Tanzania.
la comunidad indígena de Mosa.
I'm happy to be here.
Estoy muy
And
feliz de
thank
estar
you
aquí.
that the teacher said
Y
she's
muchas
not going to
gracias.
overload us with so much information.
Entonces,
I'm
sí,
glad about
gracias
that.
a la
Thank
nuestra
you
presidenta
so much.
por no darnos
Thank you.
tanta información acumulada. Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
So next I give
Ahora llamo
to Grace. Grace.
Grace.
Grace Nandi.
Grace Nandi.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, my name is Grace Nadi. I'm from West Africa, and my country is Nigeria. I'm Enugu State in Nigeria. I belong to indigenous people of the Ecuador in Ajerogu community. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much as we continue to interact with our sisters from other regions and other countries. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Grace, whom do you call upon next? Okay, Grace has gone. Which one? Okay. I think as Grace has muted herself, I will call on Grace, call on any of your sisters. Okay, I see you're unmuted.
Want to call on Noski Patrick. Please introduce yourself.
I have just finished.
Okay.
So I call next one, Bal Kibuba.
Okay.
Yes.
Bal Kibuba, please, you are the next.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon to all the dear sisters. I am Balkisu Uba. I'm one of the tutors tutoring the African students. So I'm from the Bororo Pastoralist community of Cameroon, the same community with Habiba. I'm very excited to be with you people. I'm very happy to share knowledge here and equally learn from the different cultures and different sisters that we have here. So it's really a pleasure meeting you in this course. And I've read so much about you online, so it's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you. I call on Priscilla.
I have introduced myself. Thank you.
Oh, okay. We call on you Sleda.
Usually they already introduced herself. So now is Elder Lorena Lopez.
Okay, call on Lorena.
Good morning. My name is Lorena Lopez. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes,
Can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you. Yes.
Perfect. Good morning. My name is Lorena Veronica Lopez Mejia. I am from Guatemala, from the Quetzaltenango department, Quiche, Pupuno. I am Maya Quiche. And so we here coexist for indigenous people, the Mayan, Inca, Garifuna, and Mestizo. I belong to the Maya indigenous people. We have 24 communities. I belong to the Quiche people. I am 57 years old. So it's a pleasure to be here sharing with you and learning with you. I can't see who else is here, so I invite someone who hasn't introduced herself. So and I welcome to the sister that is going to share with us our teacher, our tutor, in this second edition of intercultural research. So thank you.
Muchas gracias, Lorena. Thank you. I have been to Guatemala. It's such a pleasure to have your presence here. I think the person who is not introduced is our sister, Mint Mon. Yes, if she can introduce herself.
Yes, sister. First of all, thanks for giving me this opportunity. My name's Mimi Mon, and I'm one of the tutor for Asha Group. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think we have two more who joined us, Sameh and, yes, Sameh. Grace. Grace, have you introduced yourself?
Unless I should repeat. I've done that already.
And you have a baby there.
He's not feeling too well. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I think Sameh, and then we will start. Sameh, we are having just getting to know each other, a round of introductions.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I am really pleased to be here. Bina, I'm really happy that you are here, sharing us with us today. My name is Sameka. I am part of the team, FIMI team, and greetings for each one of you.
Thank you.
Warm greetings.
Thank you. Has everyone introduced themselves? Anyone missing? I now see there are more than 8. Oh,
yeah, Livia is the one that is pending introducing herself.
Okay, please do. Livia. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Livia, we cannot hear you.
Livia?
Hi, good morning. I was using the Spanish channel. Good morning. My name is Livia Olvera. I live in Mexico City. I am part of the interpreting team. I am born from a mother of the United States, a Quaker descendant, and a Mexican father based in Mexico City. And it's an honor to be here and learn with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think with this, we have concluded the round of introductions, and it's wonderful. I'm listing, I think, more than 19, 20 countries in this Zoom room. So this is the power of when we come together and learning and co-learning from one another. So it's deeply an honor, again, to meet each one of you and for your work that you have done for years. So this is where we are. And again, as I mentioned, what we will do now is we'll take a deep breath, take a deep breath and breathe in and breathe out a little bit. Yeah, breathe. Imagine the flowers, the sun, the moon, the grass, the warm milk. Just feel the energy, the fragrance, and the love of your loved ones and of your families, of your children, of your community, and the nature around you. And so this is the power of Indigenous women. We give life, we nurture life, and it is with this humility that we are going to enter into these conversations in the next 5 sessions that I am deeply honored that FIMI has selected me to be with you all. Okay. And if you want to stretch like Priscilla is stretching, please stretch. Just feel you could breathe, okay? Don't stifle yourself and just relax. Really important. Breathe in, and we are in a very safe space, okay? And we need the energy to flow through our minds, our bodies, our being, our hands, our feet, our mind, our face. Rub your hands and put it on your face, the good energy around you, and know how much you are loved, nourished, precious. Okay, yeah. All right, so always remember not to forget yourselves and to take care of yourselves as we do the work for our families, our community, and for our nations. So in the next 5 lessons, I'll be doing 3 things. And I want you to remember these 3 things. First, a consciousness of where we are in the world today. It's very important. Like Priscilla, I was born in Manipur. It's a very small state in northeast of India, bordering Myanmar. Very small. A place which is at war for the last 70 years. I thought we were just in one small part of the world. But when I realized what is happening around the world, I was able to make peace with what's happening even in a war zone. Once you understand that, you're able to then activate your power to be able to see what we can do to make a difference in our own humble ways. So the first lessons that we'll start today, or the sharing, I would call it sharing, is to show through a video what is happening in the world around us, 1. Number 2, once we understand what is happening in our homes, our regions, and internationally, then you will know the next part of our presentation will share as you will be able to gain the power to be able to understand the energy of what is happening around us. That will give you the energy to see, okay, what can we do about it? That is called self-determined development. Self-determined, that means you as a person determined for yourself. Not anyone telling you, do this, do that, but you as an Indigenous woman, as a mother, as a sister, as a person, understand, okay, this is it. And the reason this is important is a lot of our agencies have been taken away from us. We are made to feel we are nothing. So this session will bring us back. And this has come again after more than 25 years of living experience. Nobody taught me this. We learned over 25 years of work. Final thing is many indigenous cultures are oral, and this is very important. Through our lullaby, through our songs, through the songs our mothers and grandmothers sang, and our grandfathers' songs, we have learned many things. But as an indigenous woman, scholar, and a practitioner, we will also learn the oral part, but also at the same time to see how we can document what we are doing. Because in today's world, if we don't document, we don't exist. So we will, again, using our own indigenous technique, not the way the Western society or XYZ has imposed on us, but we will self-determine our own way of documenting, whether it's songs, whether it's a film, whether it's a poetry, like Sameh is a poet, or is it also through how do we communicate what we are doing. And I know that many of you are, again, very busy, but very critical tools we will, at the end of this 5 lessons, 5 sharing that I will do, where I'm honored to be with you all. We will go through it. And most importantly is then using these tools. How do you connect with your own communities, with the nation states that surround you? Because we are all like locked in nation states who are not doing much, who are not really, who need to do better, okay? And then how do we engage with our sisters like this, and how do we engage with the world around us? So I hope this is clear, okay? So understanding the world around us, knowing what should we do to bring that change, and the tools and techniques that is needed. And again, when I was preparing these sessions with you, I went through 25 years of my own work. And this has come from lived experience, not from any books, though I have used the books and videos of some sisters and colleagues from around the world. Again, that's why, and we will have many sessions where you will also bring your own diverse experiences, because we have so much to learn from you all too. So we will be co-learners in the process. So with this, I will request, in today's world, as we mentioned at this time, we are lucky to be alive. We are lucky to be safe. Right now, there is massive flooding where in Manipur, for instance, or there is cholera in Sudan, cholera. And we work with indigenous sisters from around the world, so we are acutely aware of what's. In Burma, there are conflict and aerial bombing done on the people. So we are living in a very difficult circumstance. Do you know how many wars are in the world today? We only hear of Ukraine, we hear of Middle East. Can any one of you unmute and say how many wars might be existing in the world today that we do not know of, but where there is no news comes from that part of the world? Anyone with guess, besides these 2-3 wars that we know? There are 107 conflicts happening in the world today. In my home state, Manipur, 70,000 were displaced in the 2 years of conflict. But that number is nothing compared to 200 million people. 200 million people today have left their homes, their beloved families, communities, and fleeing wars, conflicts, and disasters. I am telling these facts not to depress you, but these facts we should know in our heart and mind, keep it there, so that it gives us the energy to see why we should do the things that we are doing today. So we will start with that. And most critically is these facts are important for us to know this information. And we will start with a film which was produced some years ago on World Humanitarian Day to connect the humanity of how is indigenous and non-indigenous, where the world is. So I will request our technical expertise at FIMI to show our first video on World Humanitarian Day to show us. Thank you.
Have you ever faced an impossible choice? Like having to choose between medicine or food for your family. Deciding which road to school is least likely to be bombed. Or which one of your children to give the only life vest to. Millions of people are faced with impossible choices like these every day. We're in the midst of one of the greatest humanitarian crises of our lifetime. We are witnessing human suffering unlike any we've seen before. Every day, we receive more news, more facts. Millions are counting on us.
عايزين نعيش عيشة كريمة، يعني احنا بدنا نعيش عيشة كريمة، بدنا يعملوا لنا الإعمار.
ugashaka kukobandanya twiga tukabaho ubuzima bwiza nta ngorane dufise atakuvuga ngo ndafise ariko kiranyiruka inyuma nico twashaka
ကျွန်တော်နဲ့ကျွန်တော်မိသားဒီစခန်းမှာနေရတာကျွန်တော်အဲ့ဒီရှိုးခံရလို့ပါကျွန်တော်ဖြစ်ရှင်တာကတော့ကျွန်တော်အိမ်ကိုကျွန်တော်ပြန်ကျင်ပါတယ်
أهم شيء عندي بالحياة أني عائلتي ابني وزوجي نريد نعيش مكان آمن.
Together, this is our chance to act and put humanity first. We all have a role to play. Let us commit to resolve conflict through dialogue and reconciliation, rather than violence and revenge. To end hunger for those in need. To secure civilian safety from bombs and landmines. To ensure displaced children receive an education. And that the most vulnerable in crisis receive care. This is our shared humanity. We are one humanity. Now is the time to take action.
Thank you. So every time I watch this video, tears comes from our eyes. It's the way the world is. The thing is, war profits. Don't think that war makes us lose lives. It's not just about losing life. Arms manufacturers, people with political power, they profit out of our wars. That's why wars are unending. So in this particular course, I'm bringing the element of indigenous women, why the need for us to fight for our peace also as we do this course. So I'll be interspersing these elements. Now, we are confused, so many things happening in the world today, but then, as I mentioned, some of this information that has come from years of research and practical work on ground zero in Asia and now in 7 socio-indigenous regions of the world. So I will pull up a PowerPoint. So Liliana, shall I pull up my old PowerPoint? Let me do it, or do I have the thing to pull up my PowerPoint? Yes, I will pull up mine. Okay, fine. So just a few so that, yes, I will do it so that.
As you prefer, communication has it, but you let us know. Okay.
Yeah, I can do it because that way I can.
Okay.
So yeah, these are images of why the state of the world today and why Indigenous women should lead peace, mediation, and reconciliation efforts. These images are from my home region in Manipur. We have 9 mountain range with a lush green valley. Then we have the woman, she's collecting, a plant from the Loktak Lake, and some of the ways in this indigenous worship is done, also to bring a little bit of my culture there. And yeah, next. So this is where we are at the moment, as I mentioned. If you look at the world map that you're seeing in front of us, we have 107 current conflicts in the world, 200 million. These are active conflicts. But you see how the world is turning red. And so know this data and note it in your mind and in your hearts. Now, this is another data that I want you to remember. The image that you are seeing is actually again from Zuko Valley in Manipur. Can you imagine how beautiful our lands are? As Liliana said, our lands are so diverse and so beautiful. Yet, so you remember the data, 107 conflicts in the world today, and 80% of the world's conflicts, note this shocking data, 80% right now in today's world, this violence are happening in biodiversity hotspots. The word biodiversity means areas which are filled with forest and land and, our flowers and fruits and things which are actually still untouched parts of the world. So this is shocking. So when we investigated this deeper, I started from my own hometown, but then when we started more global and regional research, we were shocked that, oh my God, majority of the conflicts are now held, are in our indigenous territories. That really shook us up. So as a result, why we need to remain vigilant. Okay, I hope the translation goes. So at the moment, as many of you know, we are not small in number. In many of our communities, we think, okay, we are a small indigenous community, but together we are 476 million living in 90 countries and territories. These are images from Brazil, indigenous communities, again, and we speak an estimated majority of the world's 7,000 languages. So see how rich we are as people. And we have 5,000 different cultures, faith, and way of life. But yet the culture that we now notice, whether it's is mostly a culture, whether it's clothing or food, is dominated by a few. Even the language I speak is learned from British colonial life. So again, it has been dominating, but can you imagine, many of our rich traditions were buried under the ground for years. The world's indigenous people, this map shows where we are in different parts of the world. So again, we can share this later. I didn't want to overwhelm you, but letting you know we are all over the world. And as we mentioned, and because of these conflicts in our territories, we have sisters from Chittagong Hill Tracts here. We have sisters from Myanmar here. Now, because of these wars, millions have been displaced. And so our lands are becoming war sites. So we may think, oh, indigenous groups are fighting with each other or ethnic groups are fighting with each other. No, I call it an engineered conflict. These conflicts are deliberately engineered in our territories that we fight with each other. While fighting with each other, then our resources are extracted, our lands are taken away, And that's the reason why we as indigenous people from around the world, and also most living as in neighboring regions of the world, we need to really understand each other. Because if we don't, then it's a colonial divide and rule. We divide each other, we fight with each other. Then some colonial masters is laughing all their way to their bank and to their power. What is also critical now, so I gave you some aspect of the world around us, what's happening with conflict in indigenous area, and then of women. I will give you a global statistics for women so that we understand. The way in which we are at the moment, 118 million girls are out of school. When I was in Guatemala in January, I was struck by the beauty of the Mayan women and their richness. And they fought through, they survived the conflict. But then today in 2025, Guatemala's girl child, a Mayan girl child from indigenous women in Guatemala, out of 15 years of school, they only are able to have 5 years of school. I was really saddened by this information. Many girls, indigenous girls, remain out of work, out of jobs, out of schools. So we need, and then also like even in the parliament, in our politics, women are only less than 30%, 26%. So we are, as women and as indigenous women, we are paid less. We are not, a good sister is someone who serves the brother or the father like this. And then we also have violence committed against us. 1 in 3 women experiencing a physical or a sexual violence in our lifetime. We all have faced it and survived it, And then in today's world where everything is on internet, again, we are excluded from this. So again, I'm sharing this so that we are aware of where we are. And in terms of peace talks and peace negotiations, imagine why there is so much war, because only the men are talking with the governments. And more so men with guns are talking with the governments. And indigenous women, indigenous people are left out, you see. But if we include women and indigenous women, then the likelihood of a peace agreement implemented is 64%. So if you don't include us, then a peace agreement is not successful. And a peace agreement is likely to last 15 more years if women are included in it. But yet, governments do not include women, indigenous women, in peace talks and negotiations. So these are some of the data that we found. Okay, I wouldn't go more through, but wanted to share that women's leadership in peace mediation is essential for resolving these conflicts that we saw worldwide. And women and indigenous women, we have played critical role. It's not that we have never been there. We have been there, it's just that it's not documented. So with this, I'll end the slide. And then what we will do is, we will, if you have any questions based on what was shared, you can unmute and raise. And then what we will do is, I don't know, Liliana, if we have breakout sessions. So after the sharing that I've done, I would like for all of us to reflect. And again, if you want to break out into groups or you just want to unmute yourself, raise your hand. The question is, what is happening in the indigenous territories that you are in? Can you describe whether you are facing conflicts, challenges? And each one of you will have about 2 minutes if you would like to share a little bit. Again, this is extempore. Don't worry. If you want to share, it's fine. So Liliana, I would like to take your, as the coordinator of this course, would you like to break out into sessions? And then, or anyone, because we have a small team here, you can unmute yourself and speak from your part of the world before we go on to the next.
Yes, yes, okay. You're asking, yeah, we're gonna do as you're asking, dear Bina. So we're going to ask the group to talk and share about what you have asked.
Yes. So very simple, don't panic. It's just like reflect on what you just saw on the screen. Go back to your village, your town, your region where you come from. And then based on Asia, Africa, Latin America, the divisions that you have made, discuss for like 5 minutes. I know it's a very short time. And then one of you will report back in each of this. Is it okay? Yeah. So
communication, if you please could help us to create the groups, so then they'll come back. Thank you. Well, okay, ready, Liliana. The groups are created and they're all in their groups. Just a second, Javier. Just a second, Trish. Just a second with Trish. three groups: Asia, African, and no, I was thinking, but thank you, thank you. I think, yeah, we needed more time, but because sometimes we get like emotional and we get emotional. Can you hear me? I am translating. I am interpreting. Can you hear me? Speaking Spanish. Hello, can you hear me? I'm doing
Yes,
the
we can hear.
interpretation.
Okay, sorry. It was my fault. I didn't.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
I'm in Spanish. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah, okay. As I was sharing with you, so we got emotional. We were talking, so we needed more time, but because sometimes, so we were sharing, so that's strengthened us. So I think we are coinciding in several things. We think it is sad that at this moment we still have a lot of repression to our communities and indigenous peoples. Right now, for example, our sister Mary is not here because she's facing a complicated situation in her country because by norms imposed by her government, she's facing repression. They are hunting them, so they want to silence them. So they are using some sort of intimidation. So there, I think that reality, we live in different countries as indigenous people, as I was sharing with the teachers, with the sisters. So we have resistance here in Mexico, but we can't see it because we don't see the media for the diffusion, for the sharing of how how our peoples are living and sharing. The the main topic that I see here is the globalization. We're living we are living in the valley of Mexico. They are suburbs. We have suburb zones, so they are considering if we keep speaking our language, if we keep practicing our tradition, so they are not going to let us get into the global community. So, but they don't see the cultural richness, but the natural riches that we have. So, so I was sharing with my with Liliana at a moment. I s- I started my fight because I was representative of my indigenous of the indigenous people, but I had different difficulties just because I'm woman, then because I'm indigenous. Other situation is that it's not easy for women to get involved with participation in the government level. So it is really a pity that we keep living this kind of situation. I think it is important to participate in the groups, and it is important to share in the constitutional reforms of our countries, in the lives of the country. So I believe it's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's not easy for us, but we need to start doing something here. We have the chance to raise our voices and to do some changes in government law and constitution. So we have work with we need to keep working as a in network of women. So if we don't come together, he's going to help us. So this training diploma is really important. So I know that I have to take advantage of this because I'm going to learn a lot of things here. I'm going to get a lot of experience. So that's what I'm going to share and do in my communities. So we agree with different in the majority of our thoughts. So this, I think this happens in every country in all over the world. So we need the government to recognize from the laws that comes from the government. So thank you.
Yes, muchas gracias, Rocio. So you all are hearing from what our sisters in Latin
Entonces,
America are facing. You have seen some of the elements of repression, how they are, trying to subdue the language, the culture. These are all forms of trying to ensure that that we are not able to rise up. So we are seeing this in similar, and many of our sisters from other countries will also be feeling the same. So again, this is just to bring the different. Yuslida, your hand is up. Yeah. Would you like to say something, Yuslida?
yes, because I want to add something to what Rocio was saying about Latin America group is that what we have as indigenous people is it's because we have been in a fight, because we have eternal fights. So that the indigenous people, we daily live an internal war with our government, with our territory, because we are constantly having fights. So we are fighting, struggling with for the life of our colleagues, our sisters and brothers. Maybe sometimes we don't. The people from outside don't see it. This is a reality we live, and that mainly us, the woman, we suffer, and because we are the ones that we pass on this our culture and our reality. So we need to visualize, make visible. So we have to not only the wars we live, but also in our internal in the as community, we are facing different conflicts. So sometimes different Western practice culture brings us. So we need to fight against that kind of intrusion. So they're trying to take away our culture, our language. We need to preserve our culture, our language. So there are so many things that they have taken away from us. So Western culture is bringing to us even though we have external war, we have internal war as women, as indigenous people, and we need to talk about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuslida. You said a very important point. We have an internal war, constant internal war with the government. In one of my first books that I wrote many years ago, I use a word called war within the war phenomena. War within a war. That means they make each other fight. They make so a constant war deliberately because put on our indigenous lands and lives. So this is a very critical angle that we will continue to grapple with in the next couple of courses. Martha, quickly, and then we will go on to Africa and Asia. Okay, yeah. Martha, you have the floor.
Yes, in my territory in Argentina, we have wars. That's in Argentina, we have wars. So we are losing our culture. For example, the territories we have, they are bringing big markets here. So we are losing our artisan works, our language. We have an institute, Chaqueño. We have a law, it's called 318, but they don't give us participation because they are putting us aside like they are. So that's the work that we have to do. That's the challenge that as sisters we have to come together. We have internal problems, as sister was saying, and that's what hurts the most. So that I believe we are all in this world, in this globalized world. They don't give us participation as indigenous women. Yes, they give a little, but it's so little tiny part of participation that they don't give us open participation. So I wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Martha. Argentina is a country which does not exist as a place where there is conflict. But you have heard from our sister how in the indigenous areas of Argentina, we are hearing that these repressions, again, war doesn't mean that there's a weapon and you fight it. Wars can also happen by taking away your language, your history. your culture, your land. So these are different forms of warfare that we are seeing. So thank you, Sister Maria, for saying. Now we go to Africa. Thank you so much, muchas gracias. And Africa, please take the floor.
Thank you, teacher. I'll be presenting for the Africa team. So I'll start by sharing my contribution. Like all of us could literally relate to the video, because in one way or the other, we all have something going on in our community, and that's partly why we are all present here. So for my community, there is social unrest which started since 2016, and well, it wasn't directly against us, but it's in our region of origin. So over the years, things escalated, and now we are victims. Our cattle are being seized, our communities being burnt, and our lands even were threatened. We can no longer stay where we are used to, and now we have to move to other parts of the country to find peace. And that's in one way or the other, like causing our identity to be lost, because we are pastoralists, and that's what we know how to do. We know how to be in the hills with our cattle, and moving to the towns is making us lose that. So I'll go to Nato Sim's contribution. She says the situation in her country right now, in her communities, there is land grabbing and forced eviction by foreign investors mainly, which is leading to cultural erosion since people are being moved from their indigenous lands. Okay, then Grace says there are farmer-herder conflicts, and their people are being displaced from their farmlands and they are being killed. And all this is causing high cost of living and tensions. Umu says there's land conflict between her community and a neighboring community, which is causing people to be evicted forcefully from their lands. And Halima says there's intercommunal conflict due to cattle being stolen, and people are being killed, and the forces of law and order are being attacked, and their weapons being seized, which are now being used against the community. So that's what we had as a contribution. Thank you.
Thank you to the Africa team. That was excellent, but sad at the same time. So as you said, that Africa is a continent where the origin of all humans were supposed to have evolved. If we all, we all originated from a mother in Africa. This is a scientific finding, and this region, the whole continent, is now across a lot of wars happening there. Okay. It was a sister in Congo. In Congo, there's a conflict. When I met a sister from Congo, she explained why the conflict was. Congo, there's a chemical called coltan, without which our phones wouldn't work. Mobile phones would work. So they engineered a conflict between two communities in Congo. And as the two communities were fighting, all the coltan was extracted. So while two communities are fighting, then this is extracted. The helicopters didn't stop, the digging didn't stop, the mining didn't stop. Okay. So same thing. In Manipur, we have the concept of hills and valley divide, again, very colonial divide. And then you say, herder community, pastoral in Africa, we are here. All these communities, for example, if you're looking at the conflict in Sudan, we're working in Sudan, so we are a little bit aware. Sahel region, I think one of our sisters are from Mali today. So we are right now researching what's happening in the Sahel region of the conflict. Very similar conflicts, similar people. So nowadays, with social media and media, they generate concepts of like others, hate speech, making the other feel they are less human beings or they are not good people. So very easy to inject that hate, and fighting starts between brothers and sisters who've been living. So we throughout our course, we will drive these points that, and then, yes, we recognize it. And then how do we advocate to then talk to multinational corporations who are extracting, talk to governments who are trying to displace us, because it is not sustainable to do that anymore. Not anymore. So these are some of the techniques that we will learn. And thank you so much for bringing these elements in very strong ways. Last team is Asia. So Asia, would you like anyone to take the floor? Sister Priscilla shared very important details of what's happening in her home region. So Sister Priscilla and anyone else would like to follow, but Priscilla, you take the floor first because you shared a lot, which others need to also listen to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity once more. And then, especially in Manipur, as I'm from the state of Manipur, the main problem that we are facing today is conflict. Why? There are multi reasons why conflict is happening in Manipur. There are intrinsic causes and extrinsic causes. There are many reasons behind. But the main thing that we can see clearly from commandment view is that unprecedented population growth. Population growth in Manipur, not by birth, but immigrants. And so there is nothing wrong that we can term this as illegal immigrants from neighboring countries. So they are affecting the indigenous people. So they are trying to find new land for settlement, and then their ways of life, they heavily depends on land that is not belonging to them. This is one of the main reasons. And then forceful occupation by the government and by the agencies of example, Jailat region, and then declaration of forest, reserve forest, wildlife without the consent of this, especially the owner, the stakeholder. So it becomes very threatening for the indigenous people. And in the Indian government policy, they don't want to mention even indigenous. They use tribal. So in India, it is known as tribal, even to the indigenous, the real indigenous group also. And one problem in the indigenous land where there is no conflict, they heavily impose Armed Forces Special Power Act in Manipur. So where there is no conflict, but they want to suppress, especially the Indian government, the military institution are heavily imposed in Naga areas. And even where there is no conflict, but these things, the insincerity of this Indian government are causing fire in Manipur. So this all causes economic growth becoming lagging behind, and then everything, it affects the social system and then the educational system. So these things, we are calling the attention of the Indian government to come and to heal our land. But Indian government is not interested in this conflict. So armed conflict in Manipur, especially in the hill and valley. And then those are in, you please try to think that those are in the valley also, they are mushrooming of armed forces. And then in the hill, using sophisticated weapon. You please try to consider that people in the valley and the hill, who will be stronger in armed conflict. So there are lots of things. And then the government of Manipur also, there is no equal distribution of economy, and then unequal distribution of our resource, especially our budget and all. These are some of the main reasons that we are fighting. And especially many women and girls, they are having difficulties in relief came without basic needs also. Even if we want to help them, we can't, because we are non-conflict group. If we go to Mai Tai group, they will say you are going to Mai Tai group. If we go to Kuki group also, they will say you are going to Kuki group. So the main attention that we want to draw is that population, influx of population should be stopped. And then the bureaucrats and then the officials should be very sincere and should be very much willing, political will to control the population growth is the main thing that I am from the area where new population is absorbing day by day. And then it is already saturated that we have no more place and space to absorb new population. I'm from Kangpopi district now. So every day is a challenge for us. So all the sisters, thank you for listening. Manipur conflict, and then the situation that we're facing, and then the Indian government, how they are not willing to intervene this conflict. We call your kind attention to all the sisters. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Priscilla, for your courage and for your conviction in sharing this with clarity. Before I comment, does anyone else from the Asia team would like to share anything from any other region of Asia? We had Nepal, we had Bangladesh, Chittagong Hill Tracks. I know Sister Mimiant is not feeling well, so we will hear from her another time. But if any other sisters from any other part of Asia would like to comment. Okay. Okay, Martha. Yes.
Maybe I can add some from Indonesia. We have a new president. She broke the military to civil space and made the policies to push indigenous and grab the territory, indigenous territory. And I hope with this link, we can struggle together and we can gain strength and knowledge. And because I am a mediator too in my community. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Martha, did I hear correctly that you are a mediator in your... Can you explain that a little more?
Yeah. If in my, I am a chairperson from Alliance Indigenous People Group in community in Maluku. And if my member is a community, they have a problem about territory or land with the investor or the neighbor, we can they just ask me to mediator for give they some link to commission or anything to making clear about the problem.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Martha. Yes, I have met Indigenous people from your area, and thank you for sharing. So I think the points which the Asia group has brought out are very important points. One is the question of what I term it again in my one of the first books that I've written is called population engineering. Because what happens is in democracies, if you are 10, and if somebody is 11, and if 11 votes will be counting more than 10 votes, so the number game of democracy, again, Western model of democracy in which more votes then means that you get the power. So Sister Priscilla, in the neighboring states of northeast of India, in Sikkim, as well as in Tripura, the indigenous people who were 70% of the population in Tripura was reduced to 30% right now. And I've worked with them for many years. This is Indo-Bangladesh border, Tripura state. So indigenous population reduced from 70% to 30%. That the indigenous people now do not own land in the valley of Tripura. They are pushed to the mountains. So we have studied that very carefully. So population engineering is a concept which governments, nation states use it under the grab of democracy to let indigenous people become minorities in their own land. So this is a very serious issue, which I don't know if any other regions in the world are having it, but definitely in Asia, this is a reality. In the Chittagong Hill tracts, hundreds of, more than, I don't know, thousands of indigenous people were displaced after they built a dam, Dumbur Dam, if I am not mistaken. And many of them were pushed to the border in Tripura and also in northeast of India. So again, this is a ploy that many governments are, I think, because they love our land because it's so beautiful, but they don't love us. That is the reality. So now, you know that colonization is 500 years old. Remember this. Colonization is 500 years old. That long it has taken. It is going to take 500 more years to change it. And we have just started. But we know that if we do the right things now, then we will be able to live a better future for our children and our grandchildren. And just why yet to be. So we are trying to understand this, and we are not like, okay, we are angry with the government, angry with the armed groups, as Priscilla said. So one thing they do, population engineering. Second, militarizing our area. Militarizing. So in Manipur, there are 20, for every 20 people, there's one Indian military. That is a ratio of militarization. And if you think India is the world's largest democracy, where Priscilla comes from, we have a martial law. Can you imagine, in the world's largest democracy? So I call it democracy at gunpoint. I've written many of my writings. So what kind of democracy where there is a martial law and we have hundreds of thousands of troops? Then what kind of democracy? So Mahatma Gandhi will be turning in the grave when he learns about Manipur and what's continuing to happen. But again, we approach our work with deep love. Not with anger, not with but we approach our work now after 25 years with deep love that we are saying this so that we can even change the hearts and minds of these governments who are suppressing us to say, look, you tried to suppress for 500 years, it didn't work. So the next couple of, we have to change. So we will require really important steps. And one critical point Priscilla pointed out was nowadays, and I'm seeing this also in the Sahel region in Africa. Many of you are from Cameroon. In Cameroon, the conflict is between English speakers and French speakers. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's true. On the basis of language, colonial language, distrusts have been created. I've worked with Mabaro communities. And I have friends who are English speakers and French speakers. In Manipur, it's hills and the valley, the divides. So we are like, these are all colonial divides. Remember this, even the language I speak is colonial. So, and then the other thing which is happening in the Sahel region is how private militia groups are mushrooming. Private militia, that means in our communities, it is no longer X fighting Y. X may go to another part of the world and recruit. Militant groups will come in our region and fight. This is happening in the Sahel region, and it's starting to happen in the Indo-Burma border region also, mind you. And then a lot of politicians asking arms, civilians to be armed, in short, weaponizing our society, putting more guns, putting more landmines, putting more IEDs, where our children trying, Priscilla, I have met people, children in Tamenglong where they've stepped on a landmine because so many landmines planted. There are, 70, 60 armed groups where Priscilla and I come from. So the mushrooming of militant groups and the cross-border connection of narcotics trafficking, arms trafficking, and human trafficking is something which is happening in indigenous lands right now. So again, very serious topics. And again, we can deep dive into it. But just today, what we have done with the sharing from all of you is laying out different layers as you are listening from each other, what is happening in our regions, in our territories. Okay. So I gave a very tight schedule to FIMI, but the session is flowing, so it is not as per the time schedule. And after all, this is the time, again, we are trying to decolonize things. So what I would suggest is, Sister Liliana, if you're there, we could take a 5 minutes break for each one of you. If you want to have a cup of tea, just have your dinner. Some of you are late, or just hug your child, or just do you think it's a good time now for 5 minutes, what I call healing break? Okay, 5 minutes healing break. So you can turn off your cameras and just eat something, drink a glass of water, and just when we come back in 5 minutes. Is it okay? Yeah. All right.
Yes, it's okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. We are back now. Yeah. Right. Thank you. I hope you had some rest, a little bit of break before we go on to the last hour, where we will be getting into technical methodologies. All right. So I there is a indigenous saying from the Hopi people. Hopi people, they live in Arizona in the United States. And there's a saying in the Hopi saying, the one who tells the story rules the world. So stories are very important. And I'm going to start this session with a story, which will bring to the final 1 hour of co-learning that we have in front of us. And knowing that it's getting late for many of you also in your part of the world, and you might be feeling sleepy and tired. It's natural. And then for many of you joining from Latin America, it's morning time. So the day is starting for you all, I'm aware. So you saw and heard how the different conflicts are there in our parts of the world. So last year in Washington, D.C., we worked with 120 indigenous leaders, elders, women, and youth from 30 countries. And we did what is called the first Global Summit on Indigenous Peacebuilding. Precisely because the importance of the fact that if these conflicts are happening in indigenous territories, what do we do about it? But as you mentioned, that many of us coming from difficult areas of indigenous areas of the world, the first thing that I did when I started my work, for me, I wanted to be a physicist in my life. I wanted to be a scientist. I have two sisters who are doctors. I come from a family of doctors. And I wanted to be a scientist. But then because of the conflict in my home region, studying science was not easy. And then New Delhi, where I went to do my science, was not a good place to study science. If you want to do science, don't go to New Delhi. Go to Bangalore, go to another part of the world. It killed my science. So first is, but that time that I spent away from home in the India's capital made me realize what is happening in my region, because my friends from other parts of India didn't believe what I was telling them about what's happening in my home region. So the first thing I did was I started documenting, researching. So research, very important that you write down what is happening in your regions. But I know that not everyone can have a PhD or a master's degree or a grade. Many are just scraping by life, forget about the other forms of education that we get. So first thing I would like to spend some time is, if you could show a show of hands of how many of you have ever written an article in your life. Just like hand. One. Have written an article in your life. Good. Two, three. Three. Okay. Which is fine. And four. So out of 20, for instance, we have 4 people who have written articles. Now, what is article writing? Articles, so for the first thing that we started doing is just write brief articles. It doesn't have to be long. It could be 800 words. It could be 1,000 words. And that's what we did. That's what I did. I wrote what is happening in my region. And I remember getting it published in Imphal Free Press. The first article, again, without knowing what is an article writing. I was upset. I was, what is happening in my region, trying to find. So first, it doesn't matter. The grammars and the technical things. So in indigenous research, Remember, there's no right or wrong. And we don't follow the Western methodology, though I've also been trained in Western methodology, and in one of the sessions later in the weeks, I will also train you on that. But for now, the first thing is, so in my life, I write poetry, I write prose, and I write. So write down your thoughts. And it doesn't matter whether it's any writing. I say anything that you write is like a child. You don't say, oh, it's a good child, a bad child, a good-looking child. It's a child is a child. Thoughts which come from your emotion, just write it down. Nowadays, you can even speak on your phone and it writes. Just speak. So the first thing of indigenous research is pen down your thoughts. Write it down. Aristotle once said that a short pencil is longer than a big, a short pencil is better than a good memory. In fact, it says, if you don't write down, it disappears. Though I also know indigenous cultures have oral history too. But oral and writing down in today's world is important to communicate. That's the first thing. And in some of the reading that I have given to you, if you have read it, it's fine. If you haven't read it, I know you will read it at some point with more details. But then it's very important for us to write it down, okay? And then you can share it with someone and get it published. Get it published, send it to your local newspaper, absolutely. Don't be afraid. And nowadays you can even take it from your phone, a photograph with thing, but of course, for me, I always consult people before I send it. So if somebody that you feel, okay, I like this person's opinion and that person may give a checking on what we are doing, send it to that person or 2 people or 3 people. And then once you have a agreement, then you say, okay, you can. So first write down, and then once you feel, okay, you would like to share it, send it. That's how I started getting what is called opinion pieces on what we are doing in our local newspapers, start locally. And then I started writing op-ed for Times of India, which is in New Delhi with 10 million readership. And then from there, step by step, then we were also able to publish in Washington Post. So remember, it starts small. No idea is wrong. No, it's your idea. It's your thought. Write it down. So, so that's very, very important. That's one. The other form of writing is, in today's world, there's a saying, if you do not exist online, you don't exist at all. So remember this. If you don't exist online, you don't exist at all. So you also try through your own organizations or your networks, create your own website. If you can't create a website, create a blog. It's free. So FIMI can help you learn many of these tools and techniques. Blogs, how do you put your thoughts down and tell your story to the world? You know, just like Priscilla said, the history of the people of Manipur is not in the textbooks of India. Can you believe it? So if you meet any other person from India and ask, do you know where Priscilla is from? They will have no clue. They will give us one term called chinky, means people with small eyes, snub nose. That's how we are called in New Delhi. When I first arrived in New Delhi, people who are chinkies. We are mostly, I'm asked, are you Thai, Filipino, Nepali, but never an Indian, you see. So many indigenous people in our national capitals, they don't see us as, because we look different. So they always other us, you know. So we took to Twitter at that time in 2010. We took to Twitter to tell our stories in 140 characters, because New Delhi wouldn't cover our news. Globally, no one knows about us. So we started getting to Twitter to tell our stories. Now, when you document your work on Twitter, a lot of people use Twitter and use language which are abusive. And in indigenous cultures that I have been with, for example, with the Mohawk people, they have a way of working in which we say, whatever comes from our mouth, whatever we say or do, don't be negative. Don't be negative. Even if you're angry, try to use a positive. I learned this from my mother also. I'll go to my mother and say, Mother, this person said something to me, and my mother will turn it around and says, think of the time when that person helped you, not the time that you are upset with that person. And my mind would switch and turn from a negative to a positive, and the good energy will flow around you. So when you write, when you do, even though you're upset, angry, whatever, try to see, because we are coming from a place of very deep consciousness. Indigenous nations existed before modern states existed. We know how things were done much before nation states came later. They built it taking our ideas and never give us a footnote. That's the issue. In Western writing, if you don't put a footnote to say what, then they call it, oh, you are taking it. But they took a lot from us, but they never put us as the rightful owners of our knowledge. So remember that. So write and then publish your work, whether it's an article or even a book. So many years ago, I did my master's thesis on what is happening on the conflict in Manipur and across the Indo-Burma region. And my professor read my, it was all seminal research that was not done before. And my professor said, publish it. So I was shivering the day before my book it's called South Asia's Fractured Frontier. It documents armed conflict, narco-trafficking, and arms trafficking in the region. So I was shivering the night before the release, but I realized that book started identifying who I am. So it's not that I always dreamt to be a writer. No, I'd never dreamt to be a writer, nor the term activist, which many people give me. I don't even know the word. So I said I wanted to be a physicist, but people are calling me activist. So who am I? So in short, writing that book was so important. I realized when I look back, that book has become a very defining work to understand what is happening in our region. It doesn't matter if your English is broken, your Spanish is broken. It doesn't matter. Write in your own language. Write it, get it translated, but write and publish. Please do that. It's an act of deep love and resistance and decolonial. Okay. So that's one research technique that I would like to place in front of you. Okay, because many of the books that you read from Western, they are very sterilized. They're like, everything has to be proper. If everything was perfect, the world is not like that. So with whatever it is, one of the research indigenous techniques is write down, research, publish it. And I know many in a big publishing house don't want to publish our work because they say, oh, if you don't have a PhD, then you cannot. No. We start our own publishing houses. We start our own and publish your work. Very, very important for indigenous. And share that work, whether it's poetry or stories, booklets, lullabies, songs, stories of publish it. Very, very important. I had given two very important materials for you to read. One is a very important book by Linda Tihuai Smith, Decolonizing Methodologies. If you have read, it is good. If you haven't read, whenever you have the time, read this. Because this book blew my mind off. Absolutely stunning book. I mean, I read a lot of books. I write a lot of books. But there are a few books which will jump out at you. This is one book which you will never forget for the rest of your life. And you can pass it to your children and your children's generation. So in her book, she said two things. It tells us how research has been used as a tool of colonization. So if you remember, the best books that you find in your parts of the world are written by colonial people. And then we refer to them again and again and again. We say, write your own people's story down. As I mentioned, the history of Manipur is not in the textbook of the world's largest democracy. So we started a project called Weaving History Northeast of India in 2010. And we asked, historians, indigenous historians, to write this story down from Assam to Tripura to Arunachal to Sikkim. Because this is one of the reasons why we are not understanding each other, is because the colonial nation state connects us all to the capital, but never with each other. If we know each other, taste each other's food, visit each other's villages, do each other's dances, we will not, even if somebody tries to generate hate, we'll say, that's not us. But because we are definitely, so I went to a very tiny village called Karbi Anglong in Assam, Nagaland border once. The first thing I always do is take up the local newspaper of any place. So it's a 4-page newspaper. I turn around, everything about Karbi Anglong. Second page, the half a page was about Kim Kardashian. Third page was sports, and the last page was all businesses. So this newspaper, indigenous newspaper, had half a page of Kim Kardashian's story. But it didn't have, and the region where I come from, northeast of India, is home to 272 indigenous groups, 272 indigenous groups, speaking 400 different languages and dialects. So then I spoke to the people and said, look, Kim Kardashian may be exciting, but it'll be good also to also share about each other's stories, cuisine, culture, so that we know about all the neighboring little communities that we are a part of. So this is one of the reasons colonization does. So decolonial indigenous research is about telling the story of all of us forgotten people, nations, community. Write it down. Don't wait for somebody else to write it for you. Write it down, document it. Yet. So we need to decolonize knowledge and research. And you can always say, if one teacher or one community have said this, say that we learned this on this day from this community leader, from this group. This is our footnote, okay? So that we also know who has said what. One of, Linda's indigenous research methodology is the power of storytelling.
El poder de contar las historias.
Okay. All right. Is it okay? Am I going too fast?
We're okay.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Okay. De acuerdo.
Okay, I am hearing you speak. So just checking. All right. So one of the thing is in the indigenous research methodology, you need to decolonize. So don't take everything just because somebody is researched by Penguin, Routledge, Oxford, anything Western, just take a look and say, okay, you exist. Now we will also exist with our own publication. So if you are a writer, start a publishing house in your part of the world. All that it needs is the ISBN number. If your book do not have an ISBN number, the book doesn't travel the world. I am a fellow at Harvard University, and I spoke to the librarian of the Harvard University. And this is something that he taught me, which is really important. He said, Bina, it doesn't matter which book is published from what part of the world, whether it's written in one language we know, as long as we have an ISBN number, Harvard will procure that book. And that blew my mind off. Again, So they research. So you ensure that your book that you publish, your article, an ISBN number. It's a unique code that you see after every book. So this would be decolonizing research, writing, and publication. Absolutely need of the hour. Number 2, Indigenous people have the power of storytelling in oral traditions. Recognize that also. Who's a storyteller? It has to be validated. Indigenous narratives, genealogies, and oral history are very important for remembering and resisting colonization. Okay, so this is very important. And remember that when we do conduct Indigenous research, knowledge is grounded in respect. Remember, deep respect, reciprocity, and it's about relationship building. We are not going there and extracting. So I remember going in a village in Manipur, and I was interviewing a mother in Manipur, and she asked, what will you do with our research? And that really moved me, and that's when I turned from a researcher, and then from a researcher to someone who I said, how can I give back to this community that I was born in? So that's very important, that respecting and letting that understand. It's not extractive. And another thing which nobody has written about is this. A lot of books says they write a book and then they give a title of a person, In Indigenous communities, we can all co-write together, or we can author as a community together. Remember that too. So again, very different techniques. We're again speaking from experience. So our research are community-driven and aimed at healing, empowerment, and self-determination. Always ask, why am I doing this? This is what I asked more than 20 years ago. I'm doing this to become a PhD scholar, to teach in a colonial system, or why am I doing this work? How I am doing this work, for whom? So for us, our Indigenous techniques are rooted in healing. Remember, it's when I first wrote my first book, I was not thrilled, oh my God, I'm going to become known as a scholar. No, it actually was healing for me to understand, because I used to ask my mother and my father, why is there so much conflict in Manipur? Who is fighting whom? Who's supplying guns and drugs to my people? Priscilla, I asked it 20 years ago. And when my parents couldn't answer, and I started at research, was when I found the answers. And once you find the answers, it gives you peace, however difficult you are in. And then you can then start taking action, which is the remaining parts of the course that we will do, how to take action. I think the July course really focuses on that. So, for Linda, research is a site of resistance and survival, in her own words. Research, Indigenous research, is a site for resistance and for our survival. I was deeply, deeply moved by this. Research can be a tool of liberation when Indigenous people control the process. We define the questions and serve their purpose. So when a lot of people will come to our Indigenous community and say, we are always subjects, objects of research. And they get their PhDs and they get their scholarship and all of that. And then what happens to us? So ensuring whoever comes to our region to take research, that they take prior and informed consent. Let them sign a protocol that they are not extracting from us. Because like yesterday, somebody from London School of Economics said, oh, Bina, can we have a 1-hour conversation with you? And this happens all the time. And of course, we are happy to have a conversation, but not from the extractive point of view, not anymore. We used to do once. Because we, the Indigenous people, we are so welcoming. When they come to our villages, we give them shawls, we give them food, we give them our time, and what else? But when we visit their territories, okay, we'll have, 1 hour for you. Let's meet for, so it's always like this. So we have to. So remember these concepts. This indigenous research is about that. We also gave in the reading list a very critical example of how research involving Aboriginal women of Canada have evolved their own techniques. And that reading is very interesting. So when you have time, take a read. Even have formats, and I really love that. So I gave you two examples in the reading list. One of Linda on decolonizing research. It's a must book. Whenever you have time, read it. Read it in your own pace. Don't hurry up, but enjoy as you read our work. How words are really powerful. And then you have an example of how one indigenous community, Aboriginal women, evolved their own research technique and their questions. So that will give you a clear example of how you do research. They call it a principle of ownership, control, access, and possession. Again, looks a lot of words, but again, to simplify it, when you try to conduct research on indigenous women, include, first of all, indigenous women wherever you are part of in the initial contact. Second, hold extensive consultations. A lot of people do one meetings and they think they have taken our consent, but you have to ensure that it is grounded in respect, grounded with care, and not, if somebody wants to do Russ wishes, just say bye-bye to them and say, okay, find someone else, but not with us. And then also don't give them the research. Talk with them to see what kind of research you want to do. What kind of work? It should not be coming from somewhere from America or Geneva, from London or Paris. It should be what the community wants to do, that research. Local needs and priority, always ask. That's why the breakout sessions, I deliberately let you all do it, because I wanted you to discuss what is happening in your territories. Okay, and most important is holistic vision. That the research is not just about facts, but it includes elements of the earth, not just your territory. It includes elements of the cosmos, your cosmovision, as many of our sisters from Latin America would tell me, your cosmovisions, your physical, spiritual, and even emotional needs. Now, in spiritual, I'll take a moment to say, I know that at the moment, we have global world religions which has come to our areas. And then we also have indigenous religions. We know this. But indigenous religions have been suppressed for centuries. My own grandfather, he was excommunicated for 10 years for protecting the indigenous faith of the community that I belong. 10 years, he was excommunicated by his own people for not following the Hindu faith. Because in the 18th century, the Hindu faith came to Manipur, and the person who came to proselytize brainwashed our king, and then he turned into the Hindu faith. And then he gave an order that everybody in Manipur should become Hindu. And when people like my grandfather resisted, then they were ostracized. Okay. So as a result, many indigenous faiths have been subdued. And I grew up in a Christian convent, Little Flower School. So I knew what is indigenous religious practices. And I also learned, our prayers, our songs. We can coexist together is what we are saying. One doesn't have to suppress the other. And each comes with its values and its norms. And again, in Guatemala, I saw in many other cultures. In fact, I say indigenous people have actually embraced all faiths. All faiths, from Islam to Christianity to Buddhism to the Baha'i faith. You name any faith. Indigenous faith. That's why the new Pope is really celebrated by our friends in Peru, because although he is American born, but he has Peruvian nationality. So indigenous people of Peru really celebrated his coming. So just to share that, but our indigenous spirituality and our religious traditions are very important. So you bring that into your research and work, and also of the, so again, be holistic, means look at the whole round. And most important, when you communicate, when you do any research, indigenous research, always communicate back to the people. If you publish a report, share. If you publish an article, share. And send them a copy with a thank you note. Tell them, look, this came out. So this is how reciprocity, right from the beginning of the research to the product, and how you can have a thing to celebrate it with a book launch or an article launch. But most importantly, communicate. So these are some of the techniques that I would share. And then please take a good read, and if you have any other questions on this. So I will just pause for a moment to see if anyone has any questions or any thoughts, or it has sparked an interest or an idea, or you felt, okay, we know it, or you're doing it, or if there's something new that you would like to add. So I don't see any questions. So what I would do is we'll take like the last segment of our presentation. We're going to show you a video. The video is two things. Again, Liliana, we are going back and forth because looking at how we are just improvising at the moment to have a clarity on the thought process. So we have seen in the beginning of our lessons today, we have looked at the world around us, recognized what's happening in our territories. We have looked at why we need to self-determine our understanding of the world. And through that, through research, we looked at some of the techniques that are practical, available out there, and how we have, see two examples from two references that I've shared with all of you, techniques, and also our own techniques that we have evolved through the work that we have been a part of, the importance of research, writing, analysis, and publication. How do we do it holistically and with respect and with reciprocity? And we are going to now give an example of how we implemented it, and through the process of indigenous peace building. So as I mentioned, that peace building, there has been wars, World War I, World War II. Now there's a talk of a potential World War III. But with nuclear weapons around us, we're just 30 seconds before midnight, before the world is destroyed, because nuclear weapons, we are surrounded by nuclear weapons. So we are living in a very, very, very difficult times. But so that's where indigenous peace building, we evolved. This is something that indigenous people have now come about. And what is indigenous peace building? In many peace agreements, in many conflict areas, all right, you have a war, then you see men with guns, right? Lots of guns, AK-47, the assault rifles, and they will have vehicles. Remember, somebody is supplying them. So I say wars are engineered, wars are engineered in our territories to control our lands, our resources. Remember that. It's a very colonial form of control. So they will flood you with men with guns. They will come there. And then what happens? A peace talk. And then the governments, X, Y, and Z, will call these armed groups for peace talks. So again, the government, which are mostly men, meeting with armed groups, which are mostly men, behind closed doors. They don't even tell what they're discussing. And that is a reason why we have more wars and no peace in today's world. They've excluded indigenous women. They've excluded indigenous people. So now we are turning the tide. Last year, that's why we had the global convening on indigenous peace building, and we're asking for indigenous peace building practices to be implemented. Sometimes a lot of these peace talks are held in capitals or in far off places, in 5-star hotels, in nice resorts. And then that's why peace, with excluding half the population or the population, how can it ever be sustainable? So we are now innovating now, I'm using the word. the word indigenous peace building as a methodology to deal with wars and conflicts. So we started this lesson with understanding the world around us, and we end that lesson giving an example. So in this video that you're going to see, you will hear from North America and from Cameroon, actually, our sisters speaking about what is indigenous peace building? How do we build peace for centuries with each other? I'm not saying human beings were all happy and peaceful long time ago. I'm also not saying, oh, indigenous people are all peaceful people. We also have fought with each other. We have also struggled with each other. So, but we are now saying, look, enough is enough. How do we turn the tide? So I think we are going to listen to this video, just like a 5-minute video, where you will hear Chief Wilton Littlechild from Canada, one of the most extraordinary indigenous leaders that we have. We've been involved with peace building since 1980s. And then you'll see some of our Native American brothers and sisters from the Mohawk Nation. And they have an incredible story, which one day I will tell. And then we have our sister from Cameroon speaking. So can we have the video? And then with Chief Wilton Littlechild, this is the video which is listed in, which should have been screened in the cross-cultural research decolonizing data. The session marked from 8:45, I think, to 9. The second one, the one from the YouTube. Okay, yes. This is a number 4. 8:45 to 9.
At a very important and historic global summit of indigenous
Thank you. Thank you so much, tech team, FIMI. Excellent. So you got, so we are now at the moment where we are looking at different indigenous practices. How did we practice peace in our communities? Again, one of the Tangkhul sisters taught me this. In the Tangkhul indigenous community, they have a system called Pukrela. What is Pukrela? Pukrela is a woman who's married from one village to the other, or one in the same. And if there is any conflict which broke out between those, then the woman who's married from one community, they become the peace bearers. That no warring party can touch her when she goes from one. So they became a very important, this is what my Tangkhul sisters, Tangkhul Naga sisters taught me in my region. So again, let us break out into Asia, Africa, and see, discuss amongst yourself if any techniques of how do you do peace building. That's one example. The other example, so think, how do you build peace when, don't think about nation states, but think whenever you have a conflict, how do you, resolve the conflict in our own regions? How do you do that? Sometimes, like our sister said, you give milk, you sometimes, so conflicts are a part of life, in family, in community, in nations. How did you resolve it is what we are going to do a little bit of deep diving. All right, let's break out for 10 minutes.
So we're going to integrate into groups again, right?
Yes.
Yes, communications, can you please help us? Okay.
Ya estamos cerrando, fue muy breve.
Ay. Okay, sisters, we were conversing with the sisters, with Luz Leida and Rocio. Here in Argentina, in Chaco, we don't have elders. There's no one who makes peace when there's trouble, like a mediator. We don't really have that. When there's problems, we talk to the family or to the person. We come to agreement with families, among the families. But when it's bigger, we go to the justice. Here in Chaco, we have interpreters that goes with the family. Sister Rocio also said that the same thing happens. What was very interesting is Jusleida conversed when she in her country. If you, Jusleida, if you can share how it's done in your region. Yes, I was telling them that we have a justice system that is complementary. Yes. Hello. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Latin America team. Again, due to time shortage, just take a minute or two max. And as a research technique, you're going to like write this down. So even if you can't share everything now, please note this discussion. Africa team, you have anything fascinating to add in 1 or 2
Yes,
minutes?
teacher.
Next.
Well, from my group, the new thing I learned was that intermarrying people from two tribes in conflict can be a way of solving issues. I learned that from Halima, and that's what stood out for me from all our contributions. Thank you.
I'm sure you have more than just intermarrying one another as a form. Okay. But yes, okay.
Yeah, we have a lot though. The
Yes.
next is.
So this is going to be your homework, Habiba, and your team. Write down your thoughts, and then next session we're going to present. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
Same thing with other groups too. Please note down in more details. And this is very important work, and you will be a part of a historic process to document this. And already we are starting the work. Okay. Asia team, I will just briefly share. In Asia team, very good discussion. One is sharing a meal. Sharing a meal and a traditional drink starts a process of breaking peace. Okay. And then we also have customary laws, and then where concepts of apaiki from the Liang Mai Naga community, and also in many other that we are hearing from Indonesia and Japan too. So we had different concepts. So I think each of your groups, you start jointly writing down through a joint document, and then you can be one of your class exercises for presentation in the July session. So you can start thinking more. So what we try to do today is to give a little bit of concepts on how a big problem like conflict, we're using indigenous techniques, questioning, reasoning, and thinking to enable us to understand and resolve conflicts. So that is one thing. And of course, we have national laws, and when we have international laws, for example, I think many of you are aware of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. So we also have many conflict resolution tools. And the United Nations Charter itself is a peace-building tool. The United Nations was created to end all wars and conflicts and to create solidarity amongst humans, but they are not doing it, you see. And that is why I think indigenous people are not victims of genocide alone. We have survived genocide. We have shown the world that we are resilient people, and that we as indigenous women, who are the ancestral knowledge holders, life bearers, we can work towards making this change from a world which is deeply fragmented, divided, violent, militarized, weaponized. To turn it will require an extraordinary effort from indigenous women to be able to do that. And this is what I tried to do in my last 3 hours of interaction. I hope you have enjoyed this journey together. Again, as I said, I'm a co-learner like one of you. And in the next sessions, what I'm going to do is one of you, please say the opening prayer and a closing prayer. Okay, today, if any one of you would like to say a closing prayer in any of your language, it doesn't matter, please say a closing prayer if you have. Let us see. If not, but for the next session, prepare a closing prayer and an opening prayer, because it's very important. I'm bringing a prayer from the, again, from the Apache. Apache is an indigenous group in North America, and I work with many of them. And this is one of the most beautiful prayer, and you can find it online. And to allow for easy Spanish translation, I'm taking a shorter prayer. It is called, this prayer goes like this. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away all your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. With this, we would like to thank you all for your attention, for your commitment, for your support in making this first session easy for me. I was nervous too, like me. I was telling Liliana, I was praying from yesterday the session goes. And thank you for your time and wishing you good night, good day. And I hand over to our able coordinator, Liliana, who has been a wonderful support throughout this. Liliana.
Thank you, my dear sister Bina. It's an honor and great joy to hear you. We are all fully committed in this process, and this is why I'm inviting you all to review the Moodle platform, all the recommendations of the that teacher Bina shared. They are both in Spanish and in English. Some of them are in English, but they can be automatically translated. We're trying to provide all the resources there, so you can see it there, you can read, you can look at the materials that are placed there. So the materials are going to be uploaded by session, and we're going to have all the materials there that we're going to share by our colleague, sister, our friend, Bina. So thank you to all. We'll see you next week, next Friday. No, and we'll see you. And yes, remember who's sharing